I do want to.
Is now being recorded.
Thank you. If we've got time at the end, what I'd like to do is also go through seller leads. Like if there's any industry there's probably no industry that I can think of in recent last couple decades that changed as much as the real estate industry, especially in the relationship between the buyer, seller, and the agent changed in the last 12 months. So what does that mean? I'd like to get you guys as much as possible on the front end of those seller deals, okay? There's a million ways that you can buy buyer leads online. I'm not going to walk you through those, okay? What I'd like to walk you through is how to get in front of somebody before the cattle call with interested sellers using some of the tools that you have. It's great that I'm coming to you now because a lot of these tools we launched last year. Now I can say our clients that have been using these tools have generated over 100,000 free seller leads through just some basic things that you all have access to just in the past 10 months. So if that doesn't give you excitement about like, let's do some of this stuff, then I'm not sure what will, but I'm sure something will. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're going to cover today and then we'll get started.
And then just to remind all of you guys, if you're newer, I know we have some new folks in the room, the way you get to Macaulay Amplified is through Macaulay Connect. So you log into Macaulay Connect, you click on Macaulay Amplify, that's the tool we're in today. And then there is also the phone app version that is called Macaulay Amplify. So that's what we're focusing on, our CRM.
That's great. And thank you for that. Yes, because I always forget every one of our clients has a different way of getting into our platform. So that's good. But remember, everything goes through Connect, right? Connect's your hub, right? And then from Connect, you can access everything else you need to connect to, right? Get it? I also have our demo phone here. And so hopefully today we'll have a little bit of time. I can open up the app, show you different things in the app, show you why you need to download the app. Several of you in this room haven't downloaded the app. I know that because I see the stats. And so I think that that's important. Okay, so automated stay in touch. What are we talking about today? Understanding the why behind consistent communication. So when we talk about staying in front of people, like everything that we do from a marketing perspective, from an analytics perspective, from anything that you're doing comes from the why, right? Why do I need to do this? Here's this.
Now taking notes.
Okay. So here's what you need to understand about that. And I'm just going to throw some stats at you. Okay. Are you ready for this? 90% of your contacts at any given time are not active buyers and sellers. Okay. That's kind of a dumb moment. Like, you know that, but 95% of your contacts at any given time are not buyers or sellers. Okay. That's one statistic that you should be aware of, because like you think that you're communicating with all of your contacts all the time. No, you're probably communicating with people that have active transactions happening. And it feels like you're touching base with everyone. But at the end of the day, 90% of the people in your contact database, you haven't talked to in a year. They haven't received anything from you in 2 years. Like, that's typical. And I know it's typical of most people in this room because most everything that you guys have tool-wise to send out is in Amplify, and I can see everything happening in Amplify. All right. Now, second thing, on average, when a consumer works with a real estate agent, finishes up a transaction, 85% of those consumers say that they're happy with that agent. Okay. So 85% on average of, let's say, the 300 transactions that are represented in this room from last year, right? 275 of those people are saying, yeah, I'm happy with that agent. But here's the stat that should keep you up at night. 65% of those people never use you again. 65%, 85% said they're happy. 65%, the vast majority will never use you again, okay? This is, just to put it in perspective, that's the same statistic as car salesmen. Okay. 80% of the people are happy with the car or the dealership that they use, and 65% of them Don't use. Do you switch your doctor every time you want to go and have a major thing? No, we have doctors for life. We have lawyers for life. But for some reason, it just hasn't clicked with the Western American public or whatever, this market is, that we don't really have realtors for life because, my sister-in-law got a real estate license. And so, it's just a real estate transaction. Let's just throw it over to her, right? You wouldn't do that. My brother-in-law just became a doctor. Let's just go over to him for that gallbladder I have to have removed, right? So it's a really funky industry that we're in. What's the primary reason? The primary reason that 65% move on. Well, number one, it's something you can't change. And number one, it's the fact that they don't think it's that big of a deal. We know it's a big deal. You know how many things that can go wrong in a real estate transaction? You do, right? So it's a big deal. You can't fix that. But number two is, you guys know you should be their realtor for life, but at the end of the day, you don't do anything to stay in front of them. It's not complicated, okay? It's not complicated with all the tools that are out there. Amplify, all the other systems that out there that do like stay in front, stay in touch tools. It's not complicated. But listen, you've got squirrels jumping up over here and rabbits jumping up over there. You've got all these things taking your attention. And sometimes we just forget to go in and say, oh, I got 18 people from that open house last week. Maybe I should put them on a drip campaign. Maybe I should send them a neighborhood report around that specific property. A lot of us are like, no one's really a lead from an open house. Well, 1 out of those 18 people probably is. None of your competitors are doing anything, so what are you guys doing? So that's the why, right? That's a very long explanation. But now that we understand the why, what I want to do is just really dumb things down to, listen, let's just start by shooting for this magic number of 25, okay? Now, we have this number internally, and we teach this number internally. Your number could be, I think with Keller Williams, it's 33. Remember they used to say that for all, eternity, the whole 33 thing. Ninja kind of has its own number, and I don't know if it's really defined by a number, but you get the idea. How amazing would it be, one second, how amazing would it be if we could stay in front of our clients 25 times a year without being invasive?
When people raise their hand, do you have Google Meets? Do you want me to let you know? Or?
Yeah, let's do this. Let me go on my rant, and I'll just take every 10 minutes, I'll just take a quick break. And then maybe could you moderate the questions for me and just read them?
Okay.
Yeah, because it's so big on my screen, I had to get it out of the way so I don't see that.
Okay.
And thank you for everyone online. We want you to participate as well.
There is one question right now.
Sure, shoot.
It's Jill Beckham. She just has her hand raised. I'm not sure if she wants to speak and ask the question.
I don't think, do I have my volume turned up here? I may or may not.
Let's see.
We may have to do type only questions. Yeah, I got my volume on. She can talk.
Hey, Jill, if you have a question, you could ask the question now. Maybe she just unraised her hand. Maybe it was an accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to kind of what we were talking through. So listen, at the end of the day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to, in a very, very simple form, stay in front of everyone in your database 25 times a year. This right here, and I say this because our system sends out total about 25 million stay in touch tools a month. Okay, so I've got a lot of really big data to back up open rates, re-engagement rates, lead rates, follow-up rates, right? All of that stuff. And I can tell you all of this stuff works. It's all part of the puzzle, but we can get super advanced, but I thought we'd keep it really simple. And really simple means just give me my 25, right? All right. So if that makes sense, what I want to do is let's start to break that down and talk about the type of communication. And then I'm going to show you guys how to do stuff within the platform that's really, really, really simple. All right. So in my opinion, right, what we don't want to do is we don't want to have the same type of communication going out 25 times to somebody who's not interested in buying or selling a home, right? Like that's where a lot of platforms and a lot of systems have fallen down in the past. Everyone's pushing someone to buy a home when they're not ready to buy a home. like at the end of the day, you don't know when 97% of your clients are ready for a transaction. You don't know that, mom died last week. You don't know that someone had a baby 3 weeks ago and it was twins when they were expecting one. And now the house is two. You don't know this stuff, right? So at the end of the day, you don't need to be pushing homes to them. You need to be pushing market-specific data and personal information, okay? Market-specific data, because this is for most people that you'll deal with, this is the biggest investment of their life. You guys know that. You know how important this is. The look on a first-time home buyer's face, right? All of that stuff. What's more important than knowing what my Charles Schwab 401k account is doing, right? Well, probably what's just as important is knowing what my house value is doing, because they're both really big numbers. They should be, I guess, in the great world. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we want to do, is do something market-driven, okay? And we've got 2 tools I'm going to show you for that. And then we want to do something a little bit more personal. And personal can be a lot of things. And here's where a lot of you get bogged down. Hey, I want to do something personal for people, tell them a little bit about me and the farmers markets that we have and all this kind of stuff. And listen, that's all great, but you'll never get around to creating that newsletter. Or maybe you're going to create it for the month of May and then you get super busy and you don't create another one until until January, right? So the personal, we've got campaigns in the system that are really simple, and we've got some market-driven data that's really simple. I'm going to remind you and show you how to set it up and show you how to do it for your clients. We're going to get to that 25 by just doing 2 things, one personal and one market-driven. You do this for all your clients. If you've got 500 people in your database, that's going to be thousands and thousands of touches a year. And you could literally do this by the time the streets get plowed. Like, this is not complicated. It's very easy. All right. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So we're going to start with the personal communication, because it's super, super easy. So let me get back up here. Everyone can see my screen on the Google Meet, right? All right. So this is your Amplify system. I say that because I know there's probably some people that are on this call, either because they're new from the acquisition or because they just don't remember and they haven't been in the platform since I was here last year. But this is what your platform looks like. On the left-hand side, you've got all this nice menu navigation, directory search, your entire contact system right here. You've got listings, and all of your MLSs are embedded into here. I say that like we copy the data and put it in here. So if you want to look at it in here, you can. We won't get into any of that today. We're going to spend a little bit of time in this section called reporting, because reporting is really about market reports and different report data-driven pieces. So that's where we're going to spend our time. You've also got drip campaigns over here. And then, of course, you can access your website. You've got open house registration system, and then some training and documents. So for those of you that haven't been here, all your navigation's on your left-hand side. Pretty straightforward. There's a lot of stuff in here. Just start with one thing, okay? Just start with one thing. That's all you got to do. Like, that's why we're only going to do 3 things, I think, today in total, even though I could show you the whole system, but like I'd overwhelm you and you'd freak out and get in an accident on your way home. Okay. So what we talked about was, listen, I need to hit my 25, right? Want to hit my 25. So in the Amplify, there's this stuff called drip campaigns. What's a drip campaign? A drip campaign is a sequence of emails that goes out of the platform from you, right? Signed by you. They look very personal depending on how complex or not complex you get them. And they go to people on a set schedule. For example, the first of every month, send this out. Or on day 1 that I start somebody on a campaign, send this out. On day 7, send the next letter. Day 14, send the next letter. Okay, things can get kind of complicated. Here's a real simple one. We've got one in there called holidays. Right? There are 16 nice looking emails in the holiday campaign. Okay, 16 gets us what? Over halfway to our 25. And it's personal. Now, granted, if you wrote a nice newsletter about the market and your dog and some other really cool things that you thought really connected you with people, that would be great. But like, I know you guys. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've spoken to at least 50,000 agents in my time. I know that no one in this room is going to consistently build out their own awesome looking newsletter every month. Okay. Someone prove me wrong. I can't wait. Now, until then, what can the rest of us do, right? Well, let's start with the drip campaigns and let's start with holidays. Super, super simple. First of all, where do our contacts live? In this button over here that says contacts and leads. Now, let me stop for just a second. For those of you that haven't been in here since last year or haven't been in here for at least a couple of months, what am I looking at? All right, I am looking at all my contacts in the platform. Now, I'm under one of our demo accounts. I'm the devilishly handsome Tony agent who looks strangely like Paul Rudd. And I've got over here 10 example clients, right? And this is so I don't go in there and mess up one of your systems, right? So this is our like demo agent. So from here, there's all sorts of data. And a lot of you maybe don't have emails for everyone and it'll just be blank. Maybe you don't have addresses for everybody. Maybe you will talk about this active marketing or you haven't rated people. That's fine. Listen, the first step to happiness is getting your contacts in the platform. You can't do anything until you get your contacts in the platform. And I really do mean anything. Like the system is around keeping you in front of your contacts, your clients, or ingesting leads, or sending out property watches, or sending out, like I could go on and on, but none of that matters till you get your clients in the platform. Make sense? Okay. So I know most of you do have your contacts in the platform, but if you don't, right, this is, like I said, the first step to happiness. Okay, so from here, let me just quickly walk you through how to tag somebody to a campaign. All right, so what I want to do is, I already know that I'm comfortable with the, and by the way, I'm annoying myself by pulling my glasses on and off. I just got readers. I'm 55 and I lasted without glasses until like 54. I'm still trying to figure out how to see you and see my screen. So like I'm annoying myself, but you're probably fine. All right. So when it comes to drip campaigns, let's say, okay, Ken, you convinced me. I'm good with the the drip campaigns for holidays. All right. So I don't need to see the drip campaign for holidays. I just want to make sure that everyone's getting a nice drip campaign for the holidays. And by the way, your marketing team has done a nice job setting these up. They look nice. There's nothing crazy in there. There's nothing supercharged political. There's nothing like, over the top. It's just real holidays and they're just nice and simple, right? Happy New Year's. Happy holidays, that happens to go out on December 25th. Like just nice and simple, okay? All right, so if I want to do this, we call sending out somebody on a campaign a campaign tag, all right? So right here, I've got these big blue buttons of what I can do. And this one says manage campaign tags. Pretty straightforward, okay? Now, if I just click manage campaign tags, it's gonna say you don't have anyone selected, right? And so that's where I lose a lot of people, okay? Well, so I've gotta select them first and then tag them. That's exactly right. Now, here's the great part of this platform. You can either grab one or two people. You see how we've opened up and I've just checkboxed on the left-hand side here. So when you get to your system, you'll see that little checkbox. If I click on this upper checkbox, that allows me to select everyone on the page. And it also gives me, and I don't have multiple pages, but if I did, it would say a button that says select all. I can select my entire database. If I've got 1,000 people in there, I can select 1,000 people, okay? So the first step is I got to select. Now, are there people in there who I don't want to receive Happy New Year's card from me? Probably not. Like at the end of the day, it's super non-invasive. Again, we're starting with just the basics, but if you don't want, for some reason, someone to get Happy 4th of July or Independence Day card or whatever, then you might want to not select everybody. But for most of us, we can just select everyone. They're just holiday cards. Messaging is just as important as frequency. A lot of people would disagree with that, right? But I will tell you, we're going to get to market data and other stuff but there's nothing wrong with a holiday card because it's got your picture on it, your signature, and you just want to remind people that you're still here. You're still doing real estate. And by the way, subtly, I kicked butt on that transaction for you 3 years ago, right? So just don't forget that. Like this is all goes to this kind of subtle mention. How do I stay in front of people? So I'm just going to select everybody. I'm going to click this button that says manage campaign tags. Okay. And then I'm going to click the button that says holidays. And then I click apply. And I just put every single person on my database on a holiday campaign. I just created, I've only got 10 people, but if I had 100 people, right? I just created, what is that? 1,600 touch points for the year in 10 seconds. It's simple. Now, can you get more complicated? Yes, I'm going to show you how to get more complicated in a second. But if we're trying to get to 25 as quickly as possible and you're worried about someone forgetting about you, and these are super non-invasive, we'll get to markets in a second, market stats and data and all that kind of stuff. But listen, there's like, it's no big deal. Just drop everybody on the stinking holiday campaign. Super simple. Okay. Okay. That gets us halfway to our goal. That gets us halfway to our goal because we're trying to get to 25, right? 25 a year, by the way, not 25 a month, but 25 a year. Okay. Which is on average, twice a month. So we've got to make sure that it's like not invasive. Okay, so that's step number one. Now, step number two is, if you remember the Word document that I had up in front, we wanted to do something personal and we wanted to do something market-driven. Now, would it make sense that market-driven is going to be a little bit more complicated because not everybody's in the same market? Yeah, of course. But we've even got that solved if you want to do something for everybody in the same market, as long as they live like in the same city or the same county or whatever. So I'm going to show you guys how to do a market report. The market report in our platform is the most used system piece in our platform. Just to give you a couple of examples, we've got 2 entire franchises that send out probably 7 million of these a month. And that's all they use in our system are these. These market reports I'm going to show you in a second have an open rate of 36%. Now, when you think about it, the average real estate, just happy holidays, generic email has an average open rate of about 4.5%. So you see how much more powerful market-driven data is from 4.5% to 36%? And again, it's not a requested piece, but the little bit more effort we spend, significantly higher open rate. Okay. And I'm going to give you a third piece after this that's even higher than the 36%. Right. So that makes sense. Your face is right on the front cover. It's market-driven data about the biggest investment in most of your clients' lives. So it's going to be a bigger deal. All right. So let's take a look at market reports real quick, because the amazing thing about market reports is, drum roll, please. There you go. Right. They're monthly. And if they're monthly and they're automated, that's 12 plus 16. Oh my gosh, we just got to 28. So if I show you how to set up a market report, super simple, like we've already achieved our goal, right? Our goal was 25 a year, and now we've hit 28 a year. Like that's awesome. And it took us 10 seconds to put everyone on a drip campaign. Let me show you the market report. So first, let me show you what one is. I remember last time I was here, I couldn't pronounce that name either. Merrillville. All right, there we go. All right, so this is a market report. This comes embedded in someone's email, right? So you don't have to click on a link to go to another page. You don't have to open up a PDF. It's not an embedded PDF or whatever. It's just a nice design on an email. You can change the header photo if you want to, and you can change the text. Don't get into all of that right now. That's advanced stuff. I guarantee you're like, oh, I've got this great marketing picture. You're never going to get to putting that in here and learning how to do that. Whereas you could just start sending these out and do that later. Okay. Because I know you, been working with you for 20 years. All right. We scroll down. It's branded to me and my devilish handsomeness. I've got convert, view, share to social media. You'll find these things all over Facebook. This is just a nice little snapshot, some number of sales, year over year, some days on market. Then we get into some market summaries. We get into new properties with a 4-month rolling average. We've got some sales versus sold versus list price. We've got some saturation charts. Listen, no one's going to take your job by seeing all of these. They're not going to become a real estate expert. What does everybody like when they're talking about money or they're talking about investment or whatever? They like up and to the right, right? And so they're going to look at these charts and graphs. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see kind of what happens with my city, what happens with my zip code, what happens with my neighborhood. These are all based on data that's localized as much as we can make it, right, to your specific clients. And that's where you're going to have to take a little bit of time and see how specific you want to get. But listen, for a 36% open rate, you do this once, and it happens every month on the 7th of the month, come hell or high water. Like snow doesn't even keep us away from generating market reports. You don't ever have to touch it again. All you do is just set it up and forget it, like that commercial on television. All right, so how do we set these up? Pretty straightforward. Do we have any questions online? Am I doing good?
I have no questions.
Any comments or applause or attaboys? Nothing? All right.
Nope.
All right, online, you got to do better. Okay. All right, so if I'm going to set up a market report, okay, I'm going to show you how to set up one market report. And you're going to say, well, that was a lot for one market report. Well, don't worry. You can do these with multiple people at a time for the same area. I'll show you how to do that in a second. I click on this new button. I name the report. Scott's. You're the only one who's going to see this report. I start typing in the name of whoever I want to send it to, and it just autofills from my contacts. So I want to send this to Scott, and I got Scott right there, right? If I want to also send it to Dave, who also owns a property with Scott, I can just start typing in, and I get Dave, right? Piece of cake. No.
Try to type it in the name, but it doesn't come up.
Well, then that means they're not in your contact database, or you may have popped offline.
Oh,
Yep, one of the two.
got it.
So, and if they're not in your contact database, by the way, because I know a lot of you are going to get so excited about doing market reports, you're going to run out there and try and do market reports before you put contacts in your database. Right here, this says plus new contact will let you add a new contact on the fly. And that's right there is for free. Okay. Then I go down to market reports, and market reports is where I pick my area. Now let's take a look at your areas. And I don't want you to get too bogged down in areas, because I'm going to show you another report after this that can be much more fine-tuned. Okay. But for areas, we've got every zip code in your footprint. And remember, when I'm looking at your footprint as a company, I'm looking at most of Chicago and Northern Indiana and 2 huge MLSs, right? For some of you, you're going to be like, there's not that many zip codes. We're just this little tiny family office. I mean, not you guys aren't. You're good size. And so at the end of the day, you might want to click on the search button and just search for something. If you don't know to type it in, you can just search for anything that's contained in the name. But what you've got in here is you've got zip codes. And then let's jump to like page 80 here. And then we've got cities. Those are defined by MLS area. Okay, so you see an address coming in from your MLS, right? And it's got this city, like that's what we're grabbing. And so if the MLS always refers to a city as that city, that's what you're going to see here. And then we've got zip code cities, and we've got counties as well. So if you want to take just everybody, what county are we in?
Lake County.
Lake County. You want to take everybody that, if you know all your contacts live in Lake County because they're all super localized and you're just, you've only got 5 minutes, you could just go in and just take all of your contacts and say, set up a market report for Lake County, call it good. You totally could do that. But remember, the more localized you can become for people, the more it's going to relate to them. So if I've got Riverview neighborhood, if I'm getting that market report, or I'm getting Lake County, what's going to be more relevant to me? The neighborhood, right? We don't have all the neighborhoods loaded, but we have a lot of neighborhoods, but we've got zip codes. People, think by zip code. We've got cities on here. So, I mean, listen, I got the counties in here, but don't take the easy way out. All right. So don't just like throw everybody on Lake County and call it good. Take some time. So that's it. We just select So in this case, we're going to, oh, and by the way, you see this? Single family homes or condos. So look at Rockford. So here's Rockford. It has nothing after it. Here's Rockford. It has condos after it. Here's Rockford. It has single family homes. I'm sure you guys have already figured this out on your own. The one that's blank is the entire residential market for Rockford. If you just want a market report on condos and townhomes, that's the one that says condos. If you just want single family, but you don't want townhomes, that's the one that says single family. This makes a huge difference when you really get into tightly packed urban areas that are heavy with condos, and all the homes are old historic teardowns, right? I mean, like you can see where this would matter, but for 9 out of 10 of these that you want to send out, just send out like the regular one, the one that's just the whole, that's totally fine, okay? That's typically what I recommend people do. So we're just going to select Rockford. We're going to click on OK, and that's it. Like in 5 seconds, I name it, I type in my client, and I type in the area. You don't have to click that browse button. If you know Rockford's a city, just start typing in Rockford. It'll show up in the dropdown, and you hit save and send. Okay. So 5 seconds per user. Great. It would be nice, though, if we could do large amounts of people at one time that live in the same area. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would be. Let me show you how that works, and then we'll take a little breather break. Again, and what are we trying to do here? Trying to get to 25. I'm giving you the 2 easiest things, one of them being one of the most effective things that we do in the platform to get to 25. Actually, we're going to get to 28, but 25 is like a round number. So these are going to go out monthly. That's 12 times a year. Your holidays are going to go out 16 times a year. You could have all of this knocked out, you guys, before the snow clears. And you could be sitting on thousands of touch points to people that haven't heard from you in 3-4 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever, right? Maybe 7 months. Okay, so if I have got my contacts, one of the things we didn't talk about here, but we did last year, but I'll talk about it again real quickly. Contacts, the number one thing is get your contacts in, right? There's no happiness until you get your contacts in. Like that's like obvious. The number 2 thing though, is to get your contacts organized in a way that how you think about them. And that's why we leave the categories and groups up to you. Some of you think about them like lifestyle, right? These are the people I do yoga with over here. These are my maybe past buyers. Some of you think of them geographically. These are my Rolling Hills clients. These are my clients in Riverwood. These are my clients in Lake County, right? However you want to think about them, make sure you start to think about how to group your clients. Your groups are right here. So we can see I've got my mailing list, my holidays, my coming to market, my neighborhood report, my seasonal home maintenance, right? So these are the different groups that I've got. Those don't really make a lot of sense. Someone's messed with my account since I was in there. But like normal things would be past clients, neighbors, right? Yoga partners. And the reason you want to do this, especially geographically, is because, again, I'm going to let you select a bunch of them, and you wouldn't select all, but you would filter, and then maybe you'd have 7 on the screen. You'd select all. And then over here, there's this great button that says create, and it says market reports. Now, if I click that, notice at the top, there's no name, because the system is going to make one market report for everyone who I checked on that list for me. All I got to do is set up one. I got to put the name of the report in. I got to put the market area. And then I hit save and send. And the system will actually go create one for every one of those people that was on the checkbox. So if I've got my stuff grouped correctly, I could literally get nice and fine-tuned. Now, if it's lifestyle, I don't know where all my yoga partners live. But like my neighbors, I know they all live in my neighborhood, right? So I just pick my zip code, select all my neighbors, and hit save and send, and it will create one per person for you. Yeah, Heather.
I have a question. So in our old platform, we had something similar. But my question is, let's say I set someone in my database up on a search for Cherville and come to find out they want St. John. Does the consumer who's receiving it have the power to go in and change it, or would that be something, you know, they would reach out to us by? Because
Either.
Can they edit it?
Yeah, it depends on where it was set up, right? But they can edit anything that was set up on the front end, or if you set up one that was linked to the front end. If you set up
What do you mean the front?
your website. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now you're
mine
talking
went
about
right
property
down my-
searches, right? So
Well,
we're talking
no,
about
like
market
this-
reports, but
Well, market report, the criteria for it. Let's say. I
Oh,
do something
market
on
report,
market
not a
report
property
for a
watch.
town. Yeah,
yes, they can't set those up
Okay.
on their own.
that's fine. I was just
Yeah.
wondering for my knowledge.
They can sign up for a new one, but they
Got it.
can't change the one that they're getting.
Through our agent.
Your agent
website.
website has a
Okay.
widget on it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so someone could have more than one market report.
Oh, 100%. You can check more than one area. It'll stack the reports and get rid of the title page on the second one. Don't do that for a lot. Like the only reason you do that is I want to send them two, one for their investment property and one for their house. Well, they're just going to get one 14-page, send them two, right? I mean, like if they want to see it, there's no reason they wouldn't want to see two.
And
Right.
this is gonna show active, sold, pending, or just sold, or? a little-
This just shows all those charts and graphs.
Okay.
And all those charts and graphs show momentum in the area. That's very generic. The next one I'm going to do is going to show active, sold, pending. It's much more like a neighborhood report.
Okay.
and
so
it's called
right now
neighborhood
I'm on a
report.
Market summary,
Yep, it's kind of a market summary. Yep, that's exactly right. Yep,
and it's called the.
market report. Yep, market reports.
I have a question from Karen Kloss. She's asking what source is the data in the marketing report?
That's a great question. It is only MLS data. Okay, so we don't go out and buy a bunch of data from, I don't know, Atom or like some of the other data suppliers or Black Knight and kind of we don't do any of that stuff. This is only MLS data. Okay, and we parse 250,000 neighborhood zip codes and cities every month. When we parse every set of data from every MLS in the country and about 100 feeds from around the world. It's like, this is one of the things that we're really good at, is taking all of this MLS data and making it tell a story, right? It's one thing to give you a list of all the pending solds and whatever, and that's the next report I'm going to show you, we're going to call the overachiever report, right? But this report is simple, highly effective, and we're going to do the heavy lifting and show that momentum for you. It's not meant to like give somebody at the end of the day, like, should I sell now? I don't know. No. It's just to keep you in front of them and to show that like you're not an expert on 4th of July. You're an expert on the real estate market. Like, so let's get some stuff in front of them that shows you off. Yeah.
And another question from Nancy is Scada. She's asking, where do I find how to transfer a database, which is something that I could potentially show her,
Yeah.
but if she could as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, we won't get into that probably here specifically. If you need to get your contacts in the platform, again, none of this can happen until you get your contacts in the platform. I can take maybe some of those towards the end, but that would be something that your team is ready and willing to help you with. They help people with every day. Okay. All right. So again, what's our goal today? Our goal is to get to that 25 number as easily as possible and make it as effective as possible. Okay. So we got drip campaigns. We got holidays going out to everybody, 16 touches a year. I just set up a market report. I'm striving to set up as fine-tuned a report as I can for all of my clients, right? That gives you another 12. That puts everybody at 28. And it's super non-invasive. It's not 28 times a year. I'm the best realtor ever. Here's 18 testimonials. Hire me now. That's not the messaging that they need to hear from you. The messaging they need to hear from you is, I'm an expert in this. This is my job. I do it really, really well. Here's what the market's doing, and I'm available for you when you need me, right? That's what they need to hear from you. So that accomplishes this goal. All right. Now, let's, how are we doing on time? We're okay on time. All right. Let's expand. So now that we've got that, and again, this whole platform is all about walk before you run. Okay. So I've given you the two baby step pieces. The first is getting your contacts in. The second is setting up some drip campaigns. If you want to build a newsletter and you can effectively do that and prove me wrong, I can't wait to see it, right? Send it to me. But just drop in the holidays. You're great. right? Now let's drop in a market report. That's great. Now for some of you, and Heather brought this up a few minutes ago, like, can we get more specific? Can we get more like, hey, here's your house. It's this little pin. And then around your house is the last 30 days of really exceptional market activity, solds, pendings, off markets, withdrawals, like other homes for sale. Here's all the galleries of all the pictures for all of those. Like this is, I like to call it the OCD report, right? You find out some of your clients went off their OCD meds. This is the report you send them because they'll never close the doggone email. It's great. Does it take longer to set up? Of course, because it's like really meant for like one person. You can't set it up for groups. I mean, you can set it up for groups, but it's not going to be as applicable. But what's the open rate? 46%. Like everybody wants to see the pictures of their neighbor's house that went on the market 3 days ago, or their neighbor's sign went down, but they didn't seem to move. Oh, it's withdrawn as opposed to it's sold. What did that house sell? Like all of that is in this report. It's a gorgeous report. It's really cool. People struggle with this report. People really haven't set up this report yet, and it's because it looks like you have to do significantly more than you do. I'm going to show you the easy way to set this report up. There's about 100 million complex ways to set this report up. I'm going to show you the cheater's way. Okay, so this is great. So what report are we talking about? Over here under reports, this one is called the neighborhood report. Okay, you can see I've got 5 neighborhood reports running. Let's just open one of them and see kind of what it looks like. So this is the benefit. Again, at the beginning, it looks pretty much just like the other one, right? But we get into all sorts of really cool stuff here, right? We get into how much for sale data is in this little area, how much pending, how much sold data. This actually, a lot of people don't know, is clickable, and it actually drops little pins, and you can look at every single one of those properties. They're color coded based on for sale, pending, or whatever. If I go back here, it gives me average days on market, pending data, sold data, neighborhood report. It gives me all the different, charts and graphs about like what is the trend in there. Then it gives me every single property with a clickable link to a spec sheet that's in that report. So I can see all the photos. I can see all the public remarks. I can see if it's active, how long it's been on market. You see what I'm saying about OCD? Like this is a great report, pending, sold data. Then it gives me pictures. I can print off all sorts of things. This is, imagine a neighborhood report that showed you everything that you wanted to see, right? And you got this every 30 days. So you could see pending, sold, whatever. Where people struggle is, everyone loves the report, right? And it's the highest, besides like a property watch, it's the highest tool that we have for open rates. Okay, clients love it. This is the report I get the most stories when I go out and talk to agents about how this created somebody re-engaging with them to come back as a repeat client. This is a big deal of a report. But there's always a but, right? When I set up a new one, I click on this button that says new, and I go into this button that says criteria. When I set up a new one, this scares people. Like the first thing that they see are all of these check boxes and buttons and all of these things. Listen, none of this means anything. This is all of this stuff on this page is super, super advanced. I'm going to show you one way to make this report with one button, and it's super, super simple. Okay. Most of the time and this is a great report for past clients. So let's just talk about past clients. With this report here, it works exceptionally well doing what's called a radius search. Okay. I'm just going to drop in an address and say, give me a half mile around this address, right? Because what do we know about a lot of these clients that you want to deal with? You know where they currently live, right? Or you can find out pretty easily. Now, in the case that you don't, market reports are great. But in the case that you know someone's address, let me show you something pretty cool. There's this little toggle right here. And of course, we hide it because we like to be difficult, right? So we hide that. We unhide it. We say, I want to do a radius search by address. I type in the address. Okay. I'm not going to touch anything else on this page. Not a thing. I don't need any other filters. I just want the system to give me everything within a quarter mile around that house. Now, for those of you that set this report up, probably nobody in this room, but if you had, one of the things that is like, well, before I want to be able to see how many homes result. Like this may be way out in the country. A quarter mile may not be enough. How do I know? Because here I can change it to half mile, 1, 2, like I can go crazy on this thing. There's this little button up here called count. And if I click this button that says count, it immediately takes that question mark and says it moves it to 5. That's our little cheater button that tells us they're going to give 5 results. Well, that's not very many. And so I'm just going to take this, I'm going to move it to a half mile, and I'm going to click on count, and it goes to 12, right? I don't have to keep previewing. I don't have to do any of that. This is a great thing. So all I've done is I've dropped in the address, and then I've just checked, and then I go down here and click OK, and that's it. Like that's literally it. The rest of the stuff is like, how often do I want them to receive it? Well, they don't need to receive it every 7 days unless they're like an active buyer or pre-CMA or whatever. So in this case, we'll do every 30 days. Do I want to get copied on the report? No, because I'm going to do tons of these, right? I name it. I put my contact in, and then I hit preview. Let's just take a look at what it looks like. It previews super fast. For sale, sold, everything around Geno's Prime and Surf. You've got all your different averages right there. You've got your market trends charts. You've got all of your actives. You've got all the addresses. All this stuff is clickable. Your sold data, nice little sample of local inventory. Perfect. And again, what did I do? I'm going to edit one more time. All I did was I dropped in my address, right? And then just to check my work, I hit count up on the top. Okay. Not complicated. So this report, again, the more specific that we can get, by far, the more specific that we can get with clients, the better chance you've got at looking like somebody who understands their needs, understands their problems, understands their market, understands their neighborhood, right? All of that kind of stuff. So being able to do something around an address is great. Now, can you draw a boundary? 100%. You can totally do that. I'm not going to show you that today, but there's training materials on it all day long.
I like that there's the preview on here is really nice too. 'Cause
Yeah, the
a lot of
preview, you can
times
take a
you
look
wanna know,
before it
like,
goes out.
Yeah, what are they going to get?
Absolutely. So you can draw a map and do like a little boundary in a specific little area that you always, sell, but it's not a specific little neighborhood that's defined anywhere, right? You can totally do that. You can, yep, you can look at subdivisions from the MLS if you want to. There's all sorts of things that you can definitely do. But let's just keep it simple. Drop in an address, pick your radius, hit go. Oh yeah, you can. But here's the problem. Too much data. This report's going to be obnoxiously long. And we're going to cap it at 250 results. But I'll tell you, 250 results, that's a big old report. That's a lot of data. And so the system will not let you send that out. It'll say, hey, listen, you can't send that out. It's too much. This report's meant to be micro. Okay. If the market report with all those big sexy charts and graphs, that's the shotgun blast, right? It's kind of like, let's just hit the wall and kind of like get the general trends of things. This is the sniper shot. Let's get really specific about your property, right? So too much for a town, but a town, that's what the market report's for, right? The more specific you can get people, the longer it's going to take, but the better open rate you're going to get, the more you're going to connect with that person. So this you can set up to be monthly. You can set it up to be quarterly. I mean, if you really were to say to me, and I get this every time I go out somewhere, Ken, I've only got 1 hour on a Saturday morning that's all I can give you. That's all I can give this silly platform. What do I do? I get that stuff all the time, right? This is what I would tell you. Do this for every one of your past clients. You know their address. Open up SkySlope or Dotloop or whatever you used to use, right? So drop this in, do it for every one of your past clients, and wait, you will get amazing results. And I so that I don't know how many people. Now, could you do both? 100%. There's no reason you couldn't do this and set it to send out quarterly, right? So that you could give them a nice little, radius around their house, send it out quarterly, and then do the market reports, that's monthly, and send them some campaigns. They're not going to see that as too much stuff from you. They're not in their brains. They don't see the holiday campaign emails the same way they see a market report, the same way they see a property watch. Okay. So don't worry about that. Like, I rarely get people that say, oh, so-and-so just got too much stuff. Have you ordered from Domino's lately? I mean, how many emails do you get saying tonight's pizza night? Like every stinking day, it's like, it's amazing how much people just crash on you. You're going to shoot them something twice a month about the biggest investment of their life. Don't be afraid to do that. Okay. Just don't. So, all right. Question from the comments.
Yep. Adam Higginbottom is asking, is this something you could use to pull comps for listing appointments if you put in the specific parameters of the actual house and address?
Absolutely. So Adam, that's a really great question. That is one of our advanced uses. What we call it is a pre-CMA, right? So if I'm going to go sit down with someone, they don't want a listing presentation yet. Maybe I'm just going to drop off something at their house, whatever. You can't go in there and like pull different comps out and do things that you would normally do with like a really thorough CMA. But you absolutely can, like, say single family residences only, right? In this specific 2 zip codes, only over $1 million. And like, you can get specific, but the more specific you get, the less data you're going to get. So keep that in mind, but 100%. Yeah. Yes. Question in the back.
Address that I just had, that it had commercial properties in there. So where's the button that would leave that out to just have residential?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll move on. There's 2 things during this setup process that I didn't mention. And let me just mention it so you guys don't yell at me and actually might invite me back in the future. So there's 2 things that you should always do when you start looking at the criteria. Okay. The first thing is make sure the right MLS is picked. Okay. So you've got NYRA up there and you've got Midwest. Okay. I think everyone defaults to Northwest Indiana. I'm not quite sure. That'll work for most everybody, but you will listen, when you hit count, you'll get 0. And then you'll expand to a half a mile and it'll say 0. And then, so like, it'll know you don't have anything. Like, it's not going to let you send out a report in the wrong MLS area, but that might frustrate you. The second is when you scroll down a little bit, right here, you got property type. Okay. Because you're one of the MLSs where we actually do pull in commercial, you'll want to take this property type and just pop it to residential. And I did forget to mention that because not all of our clients use the commercial parts of their feed, but that is super smart because then there'll be some areas where you will get commercial listings and they don't mess with the comps because there's no like automated comp value thing, but they'll just look awkward. Like there's a big old chunk of land for 18 million and then these nice little homes. Did we have one question in the back there? Sure. That's all right. So right here, this is where we start, right? We got radius search, status fields. It's right here under quick search and it says property type. Just click residential. You don't, and again, we give you so many options to be dangerous in these platforms by giving you every single one of those, every single one of all of those different subtypes and all that kind of a thing. Like there may be a day where you're going to use that, but try and keep things as simple as possible. Just pick residential. Don't have to pick all the other residential subtype. Just pick residential. Okay. All right, good. Okay, so we got a question online.
I think you're going to answer this one, but Nancy is asking, can you choose type of property when you set up a radius?
Yeah, and we just showed that.
And I'm not sure if this is something you can answer, but this is also Nancy. She
Sure.
said, for the phone app, I am licensed in 2 states. I work with a different broker in the other state. Can I have an app for both? The
No.
other state also uses Amplify. So
With a different brokerage.
I think so.
I mean,
So that would be a no.
Well, yeah,
the other, they would have used Amplify because we call it Amplify. So
yeah, Amplify is Macaulay's thing.
something
I believe
else.
she has a license for our Illinois office and also this
Uh,
office. I think.
and she's out in LaPorte area.
Yeah. or she's Michigan.
Hello?
I
Yeah.
guess, could you ask her to send an email with what MLS? she
Yeah, let's
talked
follow up
about,
that
and
one.
So that way we can, because she expands further to the east.
Sure.
So let's,
Got it. Thank you.
Piece of cake. Okay, good. All right, great. So listen, I know I've said this 18 times, but I'm going to say it again. We got to our 25 holiday campaigns. Okay. We set up a market report for everyone. That got us to 28. For those of you that want to overachieve, you take your past clients, you drop in that address, do a neighborhood report, send it to them quarterly, send it to them every 6 months, right? You can get in there and maybe send one to yourself and start playing with all the different types of what you can do with some of the data if you really want to do that. That would not be invasive at all. And you've moved from no touch points, except when you think of someone and you might give them a text, right? To at least 30 automated touch points per person per year. Okay. Market reports just keep running. I know I keep saying per year, but once somebody's on this, unless you guys shut the system down, it'll just keep on going. They're just going to get market reports forever. Okay. So, or until they unsubscribe. But at the end of the day, it's very little amount of work for the effectiveness that it is. That's one of your big focuses that the company is going to continue to help you guys with this year. And so there's so many other things in the platform. And I try and see all of our clients once a year. I'll probably be out. Well, I'm not coming back out in the winter. This is not good. But I'll probably be out in the spring in 26, or whatever, I'll come out here again. We'll teach some more advanced stuff. But for today, this is what you guys need to start with. And then that will dig you deeper and deeper and deeper into other cool things as well. Okay, so before we move on, because I do want to talk a little bit about lead gen. I promise that. That's always a hot topic, right, for seller leads. Do we have any questions regarding contacts? And again, we didn't really go through contacts. If you don't remember or you don't know how to do contact navigation, it's pretty straightforward in here. You can sort by all these columns. For those of you that haven't seen this in the past, I can actually click this little button and see different tiles. And then I can see last touches, last contact activity. Let me just bring one thing to mind real quickly. See this over here? This is really important. All right, so let's say that you get excited and you go home, you get everybody on holiday campaigns, and you start working through your 500 clients and you get through 127, right? Because you're not grouped up very well, and that's fine, with market reports. And then you're done, right? Too many wines and whiskeys, and you're done for the night. And so you got to move on to tomorrow. Well, how do you know where you stopped, right? So right over here, we have this thing called active marketing. It's one of the columns on your contacts. This active marketing shows if what report someone's getting and if they have current active marketing. For everyone in this room, this column is basically empty. Okay. Now you can see this is my training system, so it's obviously full. But if I just roll over the top, you'll see that Darcy here is getting a neighborhood report. Darcy's also getting a market report. Darcy's also getting a drip campaign. She's on at least one drip campaign. There's actually 4 of these things. Here's the other one, a quarterly market report. Okay, so you can sort by this column. So if I click that once, I see the people with the most, but if I click it again, it'll show me that Mike is not receiving anything except a drip campaign. Great, Mike is where I start tomorrow, right? So I go into Mike and I set up a market report because all he's getting is my holiday campaign. So it's a nice little cheat area, okay, for you to be able to just to sort, and then you can start working through people individually. Because once you get through your groups, I've got all the people that live in Rolling Hills. Great. Go there, select them all, set up marketing at Rolling Hills, and you're like, this is easy. Well, then you get to like the 238 strays that you've got in the contacts that you've really never contacted. Listen, that's found gold. Like take the time, go in there, get in front of those people. You just got to do it one time. Then everything, we'll take the rest, right? But you got to just take that step. Okay. All right, great. Let's talk a little bit about seller leads. All right, so everything I'm going to mention to you for this next segment, there is a video. I did a training video about 9 months ago, right kind of during your guys' transition. So you may not have it, so I'm going to send it back to you again. It was made for you guys, for agents. I send out videos every month or every other month to our marketing teams and stuff, but this one was made for you guys. And it was like, listen, we built this whole really kick-ass system that helps you generate seller leads. Here's how to use it in like 3 easy steps. Really, really, really simple. So I'm going to walk you through that now so you understand kind of what that is. Again, we start with the why. What's the why? Okay. Buyers are difficult. Buyers were difficult like for the last 10 years. Now they're difficult and they don't pay well, right? So at the end of the day, the good companies, right? The good agents are really focusing on the seller side. Okay. We've always admitted we love the seller side. I mean, some of us love the buyer side better. I think that made a lot of sense. Doesn't really make a lot of sense anymore. So if we love the seller side, we have to understand that 3 out of 4 sellers will pick the first agent they talk to. Crazy stat, really. Like, you know, like that just means you got to be good at presentation, right? Or no, actually that means you don't have to be good at presentation. You just have to be first in line, right? So 3 out of 4 will pick the first person. So where do you want to be? You don't want to be at the start of the cattle call where they've picked you and their sister and this friend of that works at Coldwell Banker from church they barely know. And like, that's not where you want to be before that, where they don't feel they need to do the cattle call and all listing presentations, right? Now with your past relationships, that's great. And it's possible because they've got history with you, or maybe they've got impression with you or whatever. But that's what we want to do, is get you guys kind of out in front. The best way to do that is with a home valuation tool, okay? Every one of you has a home valuation tool attached to your agent website. Every one of those home valuation tools does a whole bunch of stuff in the background that you probably have no idea. And if I'm going to walk you through kind of step 1, step 2, step 3 of kind of how to use that, and just I would encourage you to start doing this. What I'm going to show you generated 100,000 or so what we call soft seller leads in our platform last year. And this is the first year that we've had all this stuff out. And so for you guys, I want you guys to have a share of that, right? I want you guys to have a chunk of that and understand that like you don't have to go online and spend $1,000 a month or sometimes $5,000 buying leads. Like you already have some of these tools available to you. All right, step 1. Step 1 is understanding that you have a home valuation tool attached to your website, how to get that out, how to get that out there in the wild. All right, so let's take a look at that first. So we're going to use Tony Agent's website here. I will find it shortly. Okay, so this is one of our demo sites. Okay, so this is your guys' website here. This is Tony Agent, and everybody has this button that says, "What's your home worth?" So if I click on that button that says, "What's your home worth?" Pretty straightforward. We've made it incredibly easy to share this page wherever you want to. Now, what do I mean by share? Well, you could just grab the link and email it in an email campaign to all your clients. Hey, with the market changing so drastically, it's always good to know what the biggest investment of your life is doing. Click here and find out, right? By the way, all of our clients show the Zillow Zestimate number on these reports I'm going to show you in a second. The reason? Because if we don't show it, they will just leave and go there on their own.
Those are nice and dark, huh?
So send out an email.
I think the
Wonder
front
what
window
Zillow thinks your house is worth? Come to my site
Can't
and
see
find out.
anyone
I
sitting
mean,
in
I
there,
don't
can't
care how you have to, but like you can send out all sorts of really interesting emails. Same thing as with social sharing. You can click this button right here and share directly to Facebook in just one click. Okay, we built that into the page. We're getting this out in the wild is very, very easy. For some of you, that's traumatic. For some of you, this is super simple. You like talking about yourself 4 times a day, and that's awesome. Just come up with some messaging, but like, don't worry about the messaging too much because, you know, with high interest rates, job shifting. What did I read the other day? 56% of people in the entire country are at least soft looking for employment changes. Like, what comes with an employment change? Usually a location change. What comes with a location change? Usually a residential change, right? You guys are always needed, down market, up market, the whole 9 yards. It's always good. People are all about the house porn. So this is part of that, letting them dive in and find out kind of what their home's worth, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so share this page is number 1. Now, you need to understand too how cool this page is. Once I dropped in my address, I click on the fixed address, I click get estimate. This is the page that comes up. For those of you that haven't done this already on like your home, shame on you. Like, you should have done this, taken a look at it, right? And seen like what it does. We get all this from property data. So if you built an extra basement on your house and you didn't get a permit, it's not going to be on here. We scroll down, you can zoom into that map. We've got Zillow's number, Home Junction's number, IDC's, the tax assessed data. I know you know this, but I'm going to tell you anyways, these numbers should not be close together. You know why AVMs were created originally and given to real estate agents as a tool? To create confusion. Okay. If every one of these numbers said 338, 100, what would they need you for? They just go out and buy a yard sign from Home Depot and put the house for sale for 338, 100. Like, they're looking for your expertise because, oh my gosh, the IDC momentum number is 344, but Zillow says 338 and Zillow's amazing. But 355, wow, if we could get 355, bless you. So you get the idea here. This is supposed to be a little bit confusing without looking completely inaccurate. All right. Now, the great part about the rest of this page is it's got some great data on it. You'll recognize that data. We've got calls to action here. Obviously, you'll get a text notification. People come in. Oh, this house has never been sold. That's interesting. Sales history, value history here. You can see all the similar properties in the area. You can kind of zoom in. These pop up. You can see different homes. Like I said, like, there's no home valuation tool on the market as cool and sexy as this one. It gives you so many things you can do on this page. It's crazy. This is now the highest ranked page in time spent on our entire platform, is the AVM page, because people love going through, poking through and seeing all their different neighbor stuff and all that. And it's not even done. Yeah, question. I'll show you that in a second. So, and I like where your brain's going, by the way. Setting up one of these for all of your past clients. And then, yeah. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then you see for sale, pending, sold. You see some average days on market. Down here, you've got 3 different charts and graphs sections that change dynamically on the fly. Then at the very bottom, they can sign up and get this report for free every month. By the way, what does this look like? It looks strikingly similar to a neighborhood report we just looked at, right? With all the map and all the different. If they sign up, we'll grab this address, do a half a mile around their address, and send them a neighborhood report. How cool is that, right? So this is an AVM results page. Now, for those of you that would like to overachieve, and I've had people do this and it works out really well. Every time we generate one of these pages, this link here never changes. So what could you conceivably do? The data will change and update every single time you hit this page. You could conceivably go and look up all of your past clients, grab their addresses, drop them in, copy each one of these links one at a time, and say, hey, I created a page just to make sure that you always understood your home value. Bookmark this page, and every time you go there, it'll update. Like, how cool is that? Now, does that take time? Yeah. Like, so do important things in life take time. Like, that's a great one that I've seen really good success with, but you got to do it one at a time. But like,
I like that the link stays the same.
yeah, the link stays the same. The data updates roughly every 2 weeks or so. So like, it's not going to update daily, but you get the idea. They're not going to hit it daily either. Some people will.
And then, okay, you're probably going to get to it about if we can set them up to receive it.
Yeah. So
That's different.
again, they can set them up on the bottom of this page. They can also ask you that, hey, we'd like a CMA. If you want to set them up on something like this, set them up on a neighborhood report. That's all the same data. Okay.
This is to capture the lead, though.
This is to capture the lead. Okay, now one of the things that I want you to see on here and realize, I just did this, but I didn't fill out any lead gen, right? I didn't fill out any contact me or whatever. So what's going to happen for you guys? And some of you have received these emails and you have no clue what they mean. At the end of every day, we're going to send you an email. And that email is going to tell you everybody who filled out anything, everyone who filled out your home valuation and became like a home valuation soft lead, right? All the stuff we know about them, right? So in this case, I've got an example of one of these from another one of our companies. The legal owner name is there. The tax value was there. Our AVM model is there. The date the last property sold is there. How long that person's lived there and what their mortgage is. Okay, all that's public records that I will go and pull for you so you can deem whether or not you want to follow up with whoever lives at that address. Now think about this. If you're doing the first step well and you're sharing into your social network and you're doing this like on a monthly campaign and maybe you're sending out some emails, you're doing it on LinkedIn, what are the chances that you're actually going to recognize someone there? Pretty good, right? So this gives you like that added connection. You already know how to get a hold of them. You already know like they're in your social network. Hey, I used to play racquetball with that guy and we've been on Facebook for 5 years and he actually looked at my posts and went and filled out and to figure out how much his home was worth. That's interesting. You're going to recognize a ton of these names. The struggle becomes, okay, and this is step 2, by the way, struggle becomes, I don't know how to follow up with these people. The leads are so soft. What do I do? You don't have their email because they didn't leave an email. All we know is someone filled out this address and here's all the information about that person. So we came up with a printed report that you can drop off, that you can send out in the mail, that it just takes one click and it's just amazing. The story is, listen, if you're thinking about selling, we have buyers. Like, let's make the connection. All right, so let me show you that. That's step 3. All right, so step 1 is you shared this out on a Saturday morning. Step 2 is by Tuesday night, you had 6 soft leads in your system and you have no idea what to do with those people. You go back into Amplify and you take a look at something that I know hardly anyone in this company has looked at because we didn't train on it a year ago. Under reports, at the very top, you've got what's called a property exposure report. Okay, so I click on the property exposure report. Everyone here is going to be blank. Here's how easy this is to set up. I click, I want a new report. I drop in the address I got from that email. And so I'm going to drop in the address from one of these soft leads that I got. And I'm going to create PDF. That's it. Like it's like that's hard. It's painfully simple. Property exposure report. Now, what is the property exposure report? Property exposure report is some nice charts and graphs. It talks about the company. Here's page 1. You can see that it's customized to these people that live at 2403 Flatwalk Drive. You can't change the text. Can't change your signature. It is what it is. It's really simple. It's meant to be like, this is a soft lead. We just want to get something in front of them. And so like, it's made into PDF. You can see it's a PDF. Why? So you can print it right away. So you can print it and go. Okay. Second page. This talks about syndication, right? The vast number of potential buyers that are in the platform, total number of searches happening on the website, you know, how many listing alerts have gone out, how much is total syndication, how many people are seeing our properties across the world. Like that's the story. The third is, recognize this, those are the numbers, right? Those that we give them that Zillow number, the home junction, and the IDC number. You go to page 4, other properties around their specific property, how much they sold for, how many days on the market were they, how big were they, any of that kind of stuff. And then kind of what the monthly trends look like for their specific area, right? What does all that look like? Looks like a market report, right? It's all the same data, so it's all going to match. So this is a great little sexy 6 pages You print it out, you staple it together, you drop it off on your way home. You drop it in the mail, like whatever. I know it's a little bit extra work, but so is getting in front of someone before the cattle call. How can you tell when they're starting to think? This is one of those chief signals. What is the most underutilized and least followed up leads in all of real estate lead gen? Home value leads. Okay. You want to step out in front of everybody else? This is the way to do it.
So it looks clean. I don't know if you guys are on your computer, then you should pull one.
They're really, it's really a great product. We've had amazing success with it. It was very new when you guys launched. And so I think the team, we all decided to focus on other pieces, but this right here can build somebody's business without any of the other stuff we talked about. Right. So it would have been terrible for me to come here and not talk to you about this piece. Listen, in an hour and a half, we've hit all your clients 28 times, and it's literally going to take you until the snow clears to get that done. Right. We've given you an opportunity to start putting together a campaign of how to get people into your AVM. You could generate links. You could just share this into Facebook, right? You can share it into LinkedIn. You could just send out this link to an email campaign to encourage people. And then we've given you this killer follow-up that nobody else has on how to get in front of someone before the cattle call. And I mean, if I were to stay here another 90 minutes, we might have world peace. It would be incredible.
I feel like these would be awesome to mail once a year too.
Sure. Like remember what the third row lady there asked Renee, you asked about, like, Renee, go in and generate these for everyone. Now the link is kind of cool because they can see things online, they get it digitally.
That would be the market report is the link.
No, the market report that she was going to generate would be the AVM results pad for every single house.
Website.
Yeah.
Just plopping your clients'
Address in,
addresses in, and emailing them the link to that.
the results link of that address, which is a great idea. It takes a little bit of time. What, a minute per client? That's not very much time. Yeah, totally. You could also then follow it up every 6 months or every whatever with this for every one of them, like whatever. But again, what was this built for? Remember what this was built for. You've got past clients. You might want to send them the link. This was built for people that you have no relationship with. That is largely a, listen, we're kind of awesome here. We got a lot of buyers, and we do all of the stuff. We understand your neighborhood. Here's some proof of all of that. Like, you're already past that stage with your past clients. So that's just something to consider. Might want to focus more on that. I'm just thinking out loud, but I love your plan. But this piece here is much more like, hey, if you're thinking about selling, we're kind of awesome over here. All right. Look at that. We are at time. So I do want to open it for questions. I've got nowhere to be. I'm snowed in. So
Are you driving to the airport?
no, I'm going to drive to O'Hare tomorrow morning.
Oh, you're staying in Northwest Indiana.
Yes.
Welcome.
I'm not going anywhere. I can see outside. Those flakes got significantly larger. So
Training links that you do every week, you said, or every month?
well, they're not training links. So I communicate with the executives and marketing departments on certain things, but we do have a lot of videos that you guys have access for. I'll make sure that your team has those. But this piece that we just walked through, I've got a nice, I think it's 13 minutes long. It's like step 1, do this, step 2, do this, understand this, and it's in our generic platform. So it should look fairly much like yours. And this piece here is a no-brainer. Like, so what do we deal with today? We dealt with people you want to get, and then people you already have, but you need to get them again. Yeah.
Where do we find those?
Oh, we're going to email it to you. Yeah. Yes.
Juanita Nunez is asking, can you please point out where to get the link to share the home valuation?
Yeah. So let's do that scenario again, right? We got what's my home worth. So 2 links that we've discussed in our session here. The first one is you want to share this page, because again, this page doesn't have that. So we'll get that back to normal. You want to share this page. This is the page where if I'm just want to get a home value. I mean, this is that like entry page, right? So this is the page you want to share across social media with a little quippy story. Have you ever wondered how bad your house is tanked with 6.5% interest rates? I mean, I don't know. You come up with like, everyone's got kind of a thing. I would probably send something like that, but you probably wouldn't. You're smarter than me. And to do that, you just share it right here. You can share it directly from here. But as some of you may not know, you can always just grab whatever link you're on, copy that, right? Just right click and hit copy. And then you can go into Facebook and just drop that link in and share that too and talk about it. Okay. So there are multiple ways to get to the same thing. Now, the next link we were talking about, let's say we drop in, that's the wrong one. Let's say we drop in that, one of our clients' homes, and we generate what's called the results page. This is the results page, right? So I sold somebody a house. They now live at 2403 Flat Rock Road. Okay. So what I want to do is go in and type in the address for them and then come to this page. Now I can grab this link, but I'm only going to send it to them. So, Bill and Sarah, I sold them this house. I want to make sure I stay re-engaged. So I'm going to put them on my holiday drip campaigns. I'm going to send them a market report every month, right? And then I'm going to send them this link and say, hey, I prepared a page for you so you can always come in here and see kind of what your home's worth based on some really simple models. Again, you got to put some messaging around it, right? Don't just send them the link. And then every time they hit this link, this home value will be updated. We update all of these numbers every 2 weeks. Okay, so it caches the numbers, so they could conceivably, I guess, hit it every single day, and it might never change for like a month. But no one's going to do that, right? So now they have a custom page that they feel like you made for them with all this property data and all their value history and all the different stuff that's going on around their neighborhood. Like, that's pretty cool. And they just bookmark it and then just keep hitting this link, and it just pulls brand new information. The downside is you got to do one per client. The upside is it's a highly, highly engaged connection. Like, your open rate's going to be huge. Your track through rate's going to be 100%. It's going to be well worth the time. But if you got 18,000 clients, you're going to have to pick and choose. But I would definitely say with past clients, this is a great one, because past clients, the address and you have that engagement, you have that tight bond, right? So that's where I would start with this one. All right. Any other questions? Yes.
Get a market report today on the 12th. It's always going to go out on the 12th.
Excellent question. For those of you online, the question was, if I create a market report today on the 12th, will it always go out on the 12th? No. So again, let's remember terms. And I know I've thrown a lot at you guys today. You got market reports and you've got neighborhood reports. Market reports go out at the same time every month or right when you create them. So let's take that as an example. Today's the 12th. I'm going to go create Stephen, one of my contacts, a market report today. Okay. He's going to get the market report for last month's data right away. Okay. It's the 12th. It's already been generated. It's been generated since like the 5th or 6th. He's going to get it like boom right away. But from here on out, he's going to get his when everyone else gets theirs, all 15 million, which is on the 7th or 8th. We start generating all the data and start running them around the 6th. They go until about the 10th. People the 7th or the 8th. Now, neighborhood report. Let's say you create a neighborhood report and you choose frequency to be 30 days. That will start today and it'll be 30 days from today. Okay, because that's live data. That's not data we have to process and make all the charts and graphs. I always like it when you understand the why, right?
My OCD brain is a little bit like, but I want it to go out on the 1st, so I'm going to wait till the 1st to create all of them. And then I don't.
Yes. Nope. You don't have to. You can create them all now. And again, the first would never happen because we been working with realtors forever. And how many of you have your data in perfect on the 31st? No. So we actually don't even process the data until the 3rd. Yeah. Yeah. And then it takes a couple of days of supercomputers processing for that 250,000 different areas, making 9 charts per 250,000 area. Like it's just nuts. That whole thing. Yeah. It's a good question. All right. Any other questions? And I love the specifics, right? That's someone who's like, all right, I'm going to do this, right? So I'm going to do it. So now I just got 1 or 2 questions about how to do it. Like that's wonderful. So, all right. Any last questions before we wrap up? All right. Does everybody have their snowshoes in the back of their car? You good to go? All right. There's at least 1 inch out there. We might be stuck here. Is there plenty of water, Heather, and food? There's cold coffee and creamer. Just take the creamer, but share. All right, everyone. Thank you. Talk to you all soon online. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.